Hello, thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to do a comparative review of two of my riding jackets. Here we've got the Klim Badlands and this is a Rukka Kalavesi. Now I think Rukka no longer make this jacket. I've had this 5 or 6 years. But at the time I bought it, it was their top-end touring jacket, and of course the Badlands is Klim's top-end adventure touring jacket. The reason I'm making this video is that most of the reviews that I've seen on YouTube have been either from the manufacturers or they are from retailers trying to sell you the jackets, and so I thought it was just worth making a review. If you're interested in buying either of these jackets, making a review from the point of view of someone who's actually worn them and used them quite extensively, so I can talk about the pros and cons and what I like and dislike about this each of the jackets. This is probably going to end up being quite a long video, so I will try and index it if you just want to jump, if you're just interested in one of the particular jackets, but it's going to be largely a comparison, so it's probably worth watching it all as I compare the two. But this is what I'm going to talk about. Firstly, I'll talk about the features and I'll compare the features of the two jackets because there are some significant differences between the two. And I'll talk about what I like and dislike about each jacket in terms of the features. I'll talk about the kind of use they get, so why I have the two different ones and the different sort of situations that I wear each jacket in. And I think probably most useful for you, I'm going to talk about what are they like to use and wear. That's the kind of information that you don't get from a retailer review or from a manufacturer review, just living with these jackets in the longer term. And so, right, let's get into the details of it. So if you've done a reasonable amount of riding, you will know that motorcycling clothing is always about finding that balance between safety and protection and comfort, and quite often there's a trade-off between the two. And because most of my riding is touring, I would add a third element to that, and that is convenience. I mean, you might have clothing which is very protective, that it's reasonably comfortable, but it's a real pain, hassle in terms of getting in and out of it and dealing with it practically when you're on the road, particularly when you're riding for a few days, away for a few days. So that's really what I'm going to focus on, issues of safety, comfort and convenience. I should also say that these are jackets that I mainly wear for riding in the UK. They are both, of course, triple layer laminated Gore-Tex jackets, so I mainly wear them for riding in the UK because here in the UK chances are it's going to rain. If you go away for 2 or 3 days, it's going to rain on you, so you want pretty good rain protection. I have to say that when I am touring overseas, and I do a lot of touring overseas in the United States, in Europe, Asia, then I tend to wear I have a very different approach, and I have a layering approach, which I'll maybe make a different video about and talk about. But anyway, let's get on to the two jackets. So let's get on with the biggie first, the obvious issue, the elephant in the room, and that is the price of these jackets. These are both top-end price jackets. Now, when I bought this Rukka about, say, 5 or 6 years ago, it was just short of £1,300, and the Klim jacket is a similar price. So these are two exorbitantly expensive jackets, ridiculously expensive. So you might ask, well, are they worth the money? Well, I'm not going to say on that. You have to make up your mind on that. I'm not going to tell you in this video you should buy one or the other. I'm just giving you the information, my experience. You can make your own decision. But I have to say, my personal feeling is I don't think any jacket is worth £1,300. That just seems like a ridiculous amount of money. So you might ask, well, why did I spend that much money on the jackets then, and indeed two of them? Well, I've been motorcycle touring for over 40 years, and in that time I've worn a lot of different gear and a lot of cheap gear, and I've tended to sort of towards the the cheaper side of gear, and one of the reasons for that is I was just very dissatisfied with a lot of the gears out there. And then, a few years ago, I just realised that clothing manufacturers had really upped the game, massively upped the game in terms of the design, the style, the kind of fabrics that you're using, the level of protection that you get from these jackets, the features of them. And so I thought I would, dip my toe in the water with one of these more expensive jackets. And I've been very pleased. So I have to say, yeah, you get really good features for your money. These are both excellent jackets, but are they worth £1,300? I would say you could probably get yourself a jacket that you're perfectly happy with, that does everything you want for half that price, even a third of that price. So yeah, value. Okay, the second point I want to talk about then is the weight. These are both very heavy jackets. I have my luggage scale here, so let's weigh them both and compare them. So the Klim comes with no line or anything, but it's got full D30 armour in this all round. There's no linings or anything in it. And when you buy this jacket, I'll talk about this more later, it's got D30 armour everywhere apart from the chest, which has got thinner foam armour, but I've actually upgraded the chest armour to D30 as well. So let's see what this weighs. I've never actually weighed it before. Wow. So that's coming in at 3.88 kilograms. So let's call it 3.9 kilograms. 3.9 kilograms, and that's without any liners in or anything like that, of course. And then the Rukka jacket, that's got full D30 armour as well, including the chest armour. And this jacket does come with a liner, but I've taken the liner out. So we've got comparability here in terms of weighing the two. Right, that's interesting. That's 3.3 kilograms. So in actual fact, the Rukka is slightly lighter than the Klim. That surprises me actually. I thought the Rukka was the heavier jacket. So yeah, there you go. But they're both heavy jackets. But I have to say, even though they're heavy jackets, once you've got them on, that weight tends to disappear, and I feel very comfortable in both of them. And I'll put them on in a minute and show you. The Rukka, because of the style and the fit of it, just seems to fit in your body and sit on your body better. And this has got waistbands that you can cinch up the waist. This is a European jacket, and so it's what they call a European fit jacket. It's more snug round your body, whereas the Klim is what they call more of an American fit, so it's bigger in the body, wider in the body. That can cause it to hang, and the weight sort of sitting more on your shoulders. So to counter that, Klim have built in a kidney belt in this. So this one comes, and you don't have to buy it extra, comes with a kidney belt. And once you cinch up that kidney belt, it's a bit like having a kidney belt on a rucksack, on a backpack. It carries the weight for you here rather than on your shoulders. Soon as you do up that kidney belt, the weight tends to fall away, and you just really don't notice the weight. But if I ever put it on and I forget to do up that kidney belt, I am really aware of the weight, so I tend to always wear it. So that's just a point. I find for it to be comfortable, I have to have the kidney belt in and done up. As I mentioned a little earlier, these are both triple laminate Gore-Tex garments, and that's the main reason that I chose them, because it can be very, very wet in the UK, and so if you're wearing a waterproof garment, these are much better than the kind of jackets that have an inner membrane or even a removable liner, because with those your jacket gets wet, and so even though you might be dry inside, you're wearing a wet jacket. When it stops raining, you're wearing a wet jacket. Whereas this, the water just beads on the outside and runs off, and they're both very effective at that. So I have on occasion been riding in very heavy rain, and I've got to a cafe, stopped for a drink, and as I've gone in, just in the doorway, in the porch, I've taken the jacket off, just shaken it, the rain just falls off it, and then I hung it over the back of my chair whilst I was having a coffee, and when I pick it up, there's hardly any water dripped onto the floor because I've just shaken it all off. So these jackets don't soak up the water. So if you know that you're going to be riding in a lot of wet conditions, I think this Gore-Tex laminate system is definitely the way to go. And by the way, I should say in terms of waterproof, they are both 100% waterproof. I've not had any leakage issues with either of the jackets, and I've worn them in some very wet conditions, particularly the Rukka, which I've had longer. I've had more chance to ride it in the rain. You know, I've ridden days at a time in heavy rain in this and stayed dry and comfortable inside it. I want to move on and talk about the colours, because that's one of the main reasons for me having the two different jackets. I'm very conservative in my taste, and so for me, motorcycle jackets should be black, and so that's why I bought the the Rukka in the black. That's the I subscribe to Henry Ford's school of thought about colour. Yeah, that's the proper colour for a motorcycle jacket. It just looks right for me. However, when you're riding in summer and it's hotter sunny weather, obviously the black just soaks up the heat. And if you do find yourself in that kind of weather, which we have in the UK at the moment actually, where it can swing between being quite cold and wet to then being suddenly getting quite warm and sunny, yeah, you get very, very hot and uncomfortable in a black jacket. So that was my main reason for going for the Klim in the lighter colour, and I've worn this jacket in some very, very hot conditions and I've been comfortable. The other thing, of course, about this, and I'll come to this as a separate issue, is the ventilation. The Klim is a lighter colour, so it doesn't soak up the warmth of the sun so much, and it's extremely well vented, is this jacket. So I find this jacket is the more versatile of the two, in that I can wear this in a much wider range of weather conditions, whereas this one is more for just when I know that the weather's going to be pretty awful. Put this one on. Let's talk about fit. Just put the Rukka jacket on. As I said before, this is what's known as a European fit, so it's a bit more snug to the body, and it's got these waist belts that you can cinch up. I've got them quite slack because I tend to wear this one quite loose, so I can get extra layers underneath it. I never wear the inner liner, the thermal liner, any of my jackets. I prefer to layer it with my own clothing, so I take that out. Never use the inner liner for this. So yeah, it's not a really tight fit on me. I could have probably gone for a size smaller. This is a European size, so this is a 56. I'm 6'1" tall. I weigh about 95 kilograms. My chest is 46 inches. Well, that's without anything on. So, 46, 48 inches is I've got something else underneath. And so this 56 is just a nice, comfortable, relaxed fit for me. I do have another jacket that is a 54, and that still fits me perfectly comfortably, but I don't have enough so I don't have as much room underneath it for fitting extra layers. So that tends to be more of a summer jacket, whereas this one I can wear in winter and I can get plenty of stuff underneath. So you can see it just kind of hugs the body a bit better, does this one. Obviously it kind of looks big and bulky because it's a big jacket and it's got a lot of heavy duty body armour in it. Right, I'll put the Klim on here, you can see the comparison. So this is the Klim jacket. This is an XL, so in American it comes in sort of small, medium, large, XL to XL, etc., as opposed to the European sizing. I could have got a large. I think that would have fitted me. Again, I just say I'm 6'1", about sort of 46, 47 inch chest, so I could have got in a large. But again, I like that extra room inside just to be able to put layers on underneath, and also I want the arms to be plenty long enough when I'm reaching out to the handlebars. So I just felt that the XL was that more comfortable. But you can see it looks, whenever I see a picture of myself in this, it just looks voluminous. I kind of look about twice the size that I am in my head anyway. I've got the kidney belt done up, and so with the kidney belt done up, that's taking the weight, but you've still got this sort of quite loose fit round here. Which is not a bad thing. It's just a different style. And in terms of ventilation, I think that's actually better. And I'll talk about ventilation more in a moment. So you get to see the difference in size and fit of the two jackets. Okay, so that's a sort of general overview of the two jackets. I want to start getting into some more of the details of the features now and compare the features. So I'm going to do some close-up shots as I explain, because there are some significant differences between the two here. And these are the kind of things which I think might be sort of make and break if you are wondering about which one to buy. So I'll move the camera around, and I want to start off by having a look at the collars of the two jackets. So I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see this, but having a look at the collar of the Rukka jacket, it's quite a high collar. It comes up your neck a long way, which is good for keeping the weather out. And there's this lovely soft neoprene bit round the top, which is comfortable on your neck and again helps you get a good seal. Another little feature which, you know, I feel is one of the signs of, you know, quality and what you're paying the extra money for with the Rukka is, see the little Velcro tab here? You know, when you've got the jacket done up, obviously it fastens across there, but when you're walking around with the collar undone, you know, the risk is you've got this bit of Velcro catching everything. So it's just got that little tab there where you can fold it round and park it out of the way, so it's not going to be catching on your clothes or anything else. That's just such a simple thing, but it's a lovely little touch. However, there is a couple of aspects about the Rukka collar which I really don't like. So first of all, if I turn it round, underneath here there's like a little flap that lifts up, fastens down with press studs, and underneath that there was, I emphasise the past tense here, there was a built-in storm collar which you could pull out and then pull up really high to, you know, keep the rain and the cold out, you know, around your neck and going up the bottom of your helmet. It's not removable, it's integrated in the jacket, and I have actually cut mine out. I just got a pair of stout scissors and snipped it out, and the reason for that is that with that storm collar tucked away and under that little press stud flap, first of all you've got the problem if you've got the double lot of material here because there's a flap that goes over the top, and then with that storm collar inside, the collar was just so bulky and it was almost like wearing a neck brace. I couldn't move my head around properly, and if you sat upright on an adventure bike, a touring bike, it's fine, but if, you know, some of my bikes are a little bit more sporty and you're leaning forward, I literally could not lift my head up to look you know, down the road. You know, I was kind of looking down because my neck, you know, because my helmet was catching on that, my neck wouldn't go back, and it was very, very uncomfortable. So yeah, I cut it out, just cut it out, and that instantly improved the jacket. And I find that this neoprene collar comes up high enough anyway, so even riding in really wet conditions, I'm fine. The other thing which I don't like about the Rukka collar is that it is too small for me. I think I've got a particularly large neck. Back in the bad old days when I used to have to wear a shirt and tie to go to work, thank God no longer, I took a 17.5-inch collar, which I think, you know, is on the big side. So what I find is that if I'm layering up, if it's cold, so I might have a base layer, might have a mid layer, you know, with a high collar, you know, as something, you know, like a down jacket or something like that underneath. And once you've got 2 or 3 layers on, the collar was just too tight, and there's no real kind of you know, adjustability in it. It's either sort of closed properly or it's not, and so yeah, that disappointed me a little bit. And in comparison, I find the Klim collar is much wider, significantly wider, and it's much better built for you to be able to layer up underneath and have, you know, maybe, you know, 2 or 3 layers underneath that are coming up under your neck for insulation. So let's have a look at the collar of the Klim jacket. So the Klim jacket, as I've just said, has a much bigger collar, so I find that when I do that up, there's loads of room there for layers underneath. Never going to be too tight on me, that. So you know, much better design for layering up is that. But again, there's no adjustability in it. And with the Klim, you've got the Velcro, but you've got nothing to sort of part this. But they've put the Velcro the other way around. So you've got the soft loops on this side and the hooks are on this bit, whereas on the Rukka, the hooks are on this bit, so that obviously they can hook on other things. Another lovely feature of this is it's super soft material lining around the collar here. Very comfortable against, if you're just wearing it against your neck, against your naked skin. You know, that's lovely material to have against you, not rubbing, chafing. And also, you know, you're probably familiar with Klim. They've got these little tie back loops, so you can see the little blue loop on there on either side. There's a little tab, fastens it back. So if it's really warm and you want to ride with your collars pulled open like that, it's not flapping about, and that's very effective. Works really well. So yeah, 2 very different collar designs. I wouldn't say one's bad, one's good, just very different approach. Same with the cuffs. So let's talk about the cuffs. This cuffs and collars are very significant, particularly if you're riding in wet weather. And as I've said, I bought both of these jackets for riding in bad weather. So let's have a look at the cuffs now. So I've just popped the Rukka back on just to show you that Rukka and Klim take very, very different approaches to the cuffs as well as the collars. And I'm going into a lot of detail on this because this is the kind of issue which makes a huge difference in terms of living with the jacket every day and when you wear it, and it can be either something you love or you hate. So again, I just want to highlight the differences, not good or bad, just very different. So I love this Rukka system. So if I just unzip the outer bit there, so what we've got on the Rukka is this sort of inner storm cuff here. There's no adjustability in it, but it's elasticated, slightly elasticated, and that just sort of very comfortable. And as you can see, it comes right down my wrist. It's not short. And then you've got the outer rainproof. So if it's raining heavily, you always want to wear your gloves on the inside. Never wear your gloves on the outside. Well, if you do, you'll only make that mistake once, believe me. Because the water running down the garment, remember the water just runs off this, will run inside your gloves and you'll get very wet. So if I just pop one of my gloves on, got one of my Triumph gloves here, what you can do is I can undo the tab on the glove, pull my glove over that inner sleeve, so I've got a lovely airtight seal there to keep me nice and warm in cold weather. Then I pull the outer sleeve over the top and then it just zips up really easy, no struggle, and I can do that with both hands easily. And I'm totally sealed there. So I don't get a draft going up there because I've got the inner cuff tucked inside my glove, and I don't get rain running down inside my glove. So that is a fantastic design from Rukka, and it just totally stops you having problems of getting water going up your sleeve or inside your glove. Never had an issue with that. However, and I guess there's always a compromise with these things, it means the ventilation up the sleeves is not as good. So if you do then find yourself riding in this jacket in warmer weather, it's very difficult to get ventilation up the sleeve because of this inner cuff here just stops the wind going up there. So even if you undo this outer cuff, you're just not going to get as much wind going up there. So much better for rain. Not as good in terms of venting in warmer weather. Let's have a look at the Klim. Klim take a very different approach to Rukka with the sleeves. It's more what I would call a more sort of traditional design here, in that you've got a zip, which is actually on the inside on this one, which zips up. There is a little gusset there. It doesn't come all the way to the bottom. You can see gusset comes about halfway down the zip, and that's got mesh on it, so that vents very well. And then that just opens up your sleeve. But you can, if I grab my glove again, so you pull your glove on, you can pull this sleeve over the top and then zip it down. Again, it's very easy to zip over the top of the glove, and then you can even cinch it down tighter because there's a little Velcro there, so you can get a really good seal on there. So different approach. I would say equally effective in terms of keeping the weather out there. However, there is a big advantage to this design in the hotter weather, because if you're wearing just lighter short gloves, which I'll swap to those if it's not, then you can see the air can just go straight up your sleeve because there's not that inner cuff. Also, if you want to, you can sort of undo that, and let that vent, and again, because the gusset's vented. Or this is actually a two-way zip here, so if I come around so you can see better, so you can actually undo that down that way. So it can keep your cuffs cinched down, so I just cinch that down properly. So my cuffs are cinched down there, but you've got that vent hole there going up. So much better ventilation in warmer weather in the Klim. Let's talk about accident protection then. Start with armour. Very comparable. I said I would rate them equally in terms of body armour. Both of these garments use the D30 armour, and both of them have a full back protector. They have good shoulder protectors, elbow protectors, and they both use the split chest protector. I did mention earlier that the Klim doesn't come with the D30 chest protector. It comes with a lightweight foam one, but you can just unzip the pocket here and you can buy this stuff all over the place. So I just bought 2 of these to go in, in the chest pockets to upgrade, because I thought I've got the D30 armour everywhere else, might as well have it in the chest as well. And to be honest, it's just not heavy. It's not heavy. It doesn't really add to the weight of the jacket at all, just changing that armour out. And I just feel I've got that sort of full level of protection all round. So they are both equally attractive in terms of body armour. I'm very pleased to say that I've not tested out the protection of these on the road. I've never taken a slide down the road with them. I've come off my bike plenty of times riding off-road in either jackets, and never hurt myself. Just low speed tumbles. So I feel that the armour does work well. In terms of the design of the outer fabric and the ruggedness of the outer fabric, this is, I think, where the Klim off-road and adventure pedigree shines through. It just feels like a much more rugged jacket in terms of the fabric, and they've got this super fabric, I think Klim call it, on the elbows and on the shoulders, and it really does feel rugged, does that. So I've not tried it out taking a slide down the road, but I do just feel that's very robust. So this jacket just feels like it, more like you're wearing a suit of armour. Having said that, the Rukka still, I don't know what they call it, but it has got far more robust panels on the shoulders and the elbows. And bearing in mind that I've worn this jacket regularly, done a lot of miles in it over 5-6 years, and it just looks like new. Granted, I've just washed it, so I've just washed and reproofed this, so it actually looks a lot cleaner than the Klim jacket, which is a bit dirty from wearing. But this one is much older, and there's absolutely no signs of wear on the jacket at all. So I do think that they're both very robust jackets. So obviously this is not scientific, this is just my feeling. I feel equally well protected in each of the jackets. Right, let's talk about pockets next. The Klim is a clear winner when it comes to pockets. Far more carrying capacity, really well designed pockets. Not that the Rukka is bad. It's just not got as many pockets. So the Rukka has these 2 big sort of cargo pockets at the front, at the bottom here. I'll move the camera in closer so you can see. These 2 big pockets, one on either side here, which are sort of pockets you expect to see on adventure bikes. They've got pressed up flaps. They've got waterproof zips. These are Gore-Tex lined, so these are 100% waterproof, these 2 pockets. There are no breast pockets, that's just a vent zip there. And then inside, again, there's no pockets on the inside. However, what you can do is the pocket that you put the chest armour in, I put my phone in there, so I just unzip that and slip the phone in behind the chest armour. There's no sleeve pockets at all, so much less in the way of pockets on this jacket. However, it's never been an issue for me. I don't really like to carry a lot of stuff on my body when I'm riding for 2 reasons. One is it just adds to the weight, what you carry. But secondly, I'm very mindful if I do come off and slide down the road, I don't want things digging into me through the jacket. I've just turned it round to show that there is the big pocket across the back, the bum pocket across the back with a side zip here. However, there's only access from one side. You can only get into that from the right-hand side. There's no zipper on the left-hand side, and I'll show you the Rukka. You can see the Rukka has a zipper on either side, so you can get it from either side, and I kind of prefer that. I think that that access is better, but I guess what Rukka are doing, they're cutting down weight, cutting down complexity, and also cutting down on areas where water can possibly get in. So I can see why they only put that one zip on there. Compared to the Rukka, the Klim is absolutely covered in pockets. You've got these on the front here. You've got these 2 big pockets. Now they're not top access like the Rukka. They're side access. You've got the flap that's fastened with Velcro rather than Prestos. You've got the zip that goes down there. Same on each side. You then have chest pockets here. So there's a zip here that you undo and you can access the chest pocket. One of the features that I love about the Klim jackets, and I've got other Klim jackets, they've got the same feature, is you've got this little elasticated hook here to put your keys on. And I just love that. You know, when I get off the bike, put the keys on there, and I know exactly where, you know, where they are. So we've got similar pocket on this side, and then there's this little pocket here, which, you know, I think it's for a locator, a GPS locator or something like that. I don't use one of those, but you know, it's just a convenient little pocket. But I tend to actually put my earplugs in there. And a feature which I love, I really love, and that is the little sleeve pocket here, which, you know, it's got the symbol on. So normally that's a sort of free and medical details, but I just keep my credit card and a bit of money in that size. So, you know, when you get to a petrol station, toll booth, something like that, you just, you know, unzip it with your hand, reach in, and, you know, you're not fumbling around trying to find your wallet and stuff. So absolutely, you know, love that feature. I think that's great. Inside, the Rukka has got this little, the Klim has got this little pocket here, which it's a bit small. I really don't know what that's supposed to be for, because it's like a mobile phone pocket, but nobody has a mobile phone that size anymore. So Klim, you need to revise, I think, what you're doing with that pocket, because honestly, I just don't think it fits anything. There is also another little pocket here on this side, you see, with the blue zip on there. So there's sort of that internal pocket. I've never actually used that for anything. As I say, I tend not to carry that much stuff on me. What I find I'm carrying on me is my card, a little bit of cash there. So I stash my keys, I stash my earplugs in there when I'm off the bike, and I always carry a pair of reading glasses. You know, the little small pack-away reading glasses. Instead, I need to stop and look at a map or read something. But I can carry that on the Rukka as well as the Klim in that pocket there. Okay, so that's in terms of pockets. Right, whilst we're playing around with zips and pockets, let's talk about ventilation. So I'll go back to the Rukka. Both jackets do have ventilation zips, but this is an area where the Klim wins hands down over the Rukka. But, you know, it comes to usage, and as I said at the beginning, you know, I talk about how I use them. I tend to wear this as a winter jacket. I'm just wearing it as a winter jacket, and so hardly ever do I wear it in conditions where I need the vents open. But it's a good job because it doesn't vent brilliantly. What you've got is on the front is you've got one vent there, which it doesn't open very far. So, you know, even when you open the zip, it's not really kind of opening to get a lot of air, you know, flowing through. So you've got these matching exhaust ports on the back here, which I've got open. So that just allows some air to come sort of from your chest and through. And then on the arms, turn it back round again, it's got underarm ventilation. So it's got a zip on the sleeve here, so it's right underneath your arm, on the inside of the sleeve, and then one that runs down the side of the jacket, and it's a two-way zip. It runs the full length of the side of the jacket here, so you can zip it up from the bottom, or you can zip it down from the top like that. So, you know, to be fair, there's reasonable ventilation on that, and I'm not complaining. I'm not saying it's bad ventilation, because I think it's adequate for the kind of conditions I ride this in. Tends to be exclusively winter use, does this, and I'm wearing it when it's cold and it's wet in winter, so I tend to have plenty of layers underneath, even a heated jacket or something like that underneath. So I very, very rarely actually use it with the vents open. Let's have a look at the Klim, because this is like night and day comparing the vents on these two. This is where I think the Klim shines through as an adventure jacket, because the venting on this jacket is absolutely awesome. So on the front, you've got vents either side here that open up there, and when you open them, they really do open up and they let a lot of air in. You know, unlike on the Rukka where you undo the zip and there's still not a lot of air getting in. So you've got those two there. Then we've got two at the front here as well. So that lets air in there. And then we've got on the upper sleeves, we've got one here and one here. And I already showed you, you can vent down on the lower sleeves as well by pulling the sleeve tab down. It's a two-way zip. And then on the back, we have exhaust vents on the side of the jacket here. And we have exhaust vents on the back of the arms. In practice, what does that mean? Well, I've ridden with this jacket on in very, very hot conditions. Kind of conditions where you think you would just be dying of heat exhaustion in a big jacket like this. And once you get moving, and you don't have to be moving very fast, and you've got all of those vents open, the air just flows through the jacket as if it was a mesh jacket. Now, in summer I wear mesh jackets mainly when it's warm, and honestly, with the vents open on this, it almost feels like you're wearing a mesh jacket. I have never worn a big jacket like this that is so well vented. Obviously, I'm not going to say that it's comparable with a mesh jacket, because in the summer, when you stop, you still got a big heavy jacket on, so it's warmer, and also you're wearing that heavier jacket. But if you want something which will work for you from very cold conditions through to very hot jackets, this one is the best all-round jacket that I've ever had, because zip all the vents up, get an insulation layer underneath this, and you're never going to get a better jacket for colder weather riding than this. It'll take you down to the coldest riding conditions you want to go in. Yet, if you find yourself in really hot conditions, just strip down to just a thin base layer underneath, open all the vents, and you were still going to be comfortable. So this is why I love this jacket, and I think you can probably tell I'm very passionate about it. Could do with actually washing it, it's quite dirty. So just one more thing I want to say in terms of the features. I have the matching pants that go with each one of these. So, maybe I'll do a separate video about the pants, because again, they are very, very different, and the things I like and dislike about each of the pants. So yeah, I'll do a separate video on that. But when you've got matching jacket and pants, quite often people like to zip them together. So if I open the Klim here and show you, there is like a short zip here, which goes across the bottom of the back of the jacket to zip into your pants. That is dreadful. I just can never get it connected. Let me move the camera in a little bit closer, and then you can see. So this is the zip on the bottom of the jacket. It's I think what they call a half zip, or a partial zip, rather than one that goes all the way around. But it's quite a small zipper. It's not the sort of big chunky one like you've got on the external zips. It's quite a small zipper, is that. And it's just, when I'm fiddling around, because it's not all the way around, because it's just at the back, you're sort of reaching around the back here to try and find the zip on your trousers, and then try and find the zip on your jacket. And well, I'll be honest with you, I've only successfully zipped it up once, and that was after faffing around for ages. So usually I don't bother, or I have to ask somebody I'm riding with to help zip me up, which is a bit embarrassing when you sort of, feel like you're not capable of putting your own clothes on. So I just feel that is a very poor bit of design, the zipper on that Klim jacket, to what otherwise is a great jacket. I suppose I could pay somebody to take that zip out and replace it with a bigger, chunkier one, and a matching one on the pants. And I might do that at some time, because I do like to ride with them zipped up. Actually, I prefer to ride with them zipped up. Let's have a look at the Rukka. The Rukka, I feel, has a much better system for attaching to the pants, and generally keeping the jacket from riding up. One is the zip here is much longer. In fact, it's a wrap all the way around type zip. Well, most of the way around. I'd say it goes about 80% of the way around, does that. And it's a much bigger, I don't know if you can see there, but it's a much bigger, chunkier zipper, is that. So that's very, very easy, because it's big, chunky zip that you're going to, and when I'm fastening it up, it's about here when I start doing it up, rather than sort of trying to reach around the back as I am with the Klim. Also, another nice feature on the Rukka here is it's got this little sort of strap that goes, it just tucks away, so it's got a little sort of parking thing to park it away there, but it will go between your legs, so you can put down the legs and fasten it to the front, so you can sort of tie the jacket down to stop it from riding up. Not that it ever rides up. I've never used that, because I don't have an issue with it riding up. Because this is a European fit jacket, it fits more snugly around your body, so there's never an issue with it sort of flapping around or riding up. So that's been quite a detailed review. I've gone on quite, not sure how long this video is going to end up being, but quite a long review. If you're still with me, you're still following me, thanks. I hope you found it useful. I assume that you're still watching, if you are, because you have found it useful. yeah, I just thought it was worth going into those practical details of what it's like living with both of the jackets. I said at the beginning, and I'll say again, I am not going to recommend one over the other. I'm not going to say one is better than the other. I just wanted to point out the differences between them, the features, some of the things I like, some of the things I dislike. I've just found over the years, you're never going to find the perfect jacket. Sometimes I feel about this same issue with like navigation systems. I just wish I could get all the different manufacturers together and say, look, that feature in yours is great, that feature in yours is great, that feature in yours. Let's have a jacket with those features. I guess you'd have to have a custom made jacket to get that. So yeah, I do love them both. I think they're both great jackets. I wear them both a lot. And they're both absolute top-notch jackets. So I hope this has helped you if you're thinking about buying one or the other of them and deciding. Thank you very much for watching. See you again soon. Bye.